Greetings to you all and thank you for staying loyal to this program dedicated to football news from Africa and all over the world. This is Football Planet, your weekly football show on Africanews. Here's what's coming up. African Club Cups, we now know the teams that made the finals are Ahly Vs Espérance de Tunis in the Champions League and Raja Casablanca against AS Vita in the CAF Cup. The details to follow in the program. Mauritania wants to imitate Madagascar. The Morabitoons are only one win away from their first ever qualification to the Africa Cup of Nations. We'll discuss this with the Federation's Communications Officer, Brahim Sow Deïna. We'll also discuss the 2021 Junior Africa Cup of Nations that the country is hosting. Also on the program, the resurrection of the vicious duo Sadio Mane and Mo Salah. The Egyptian and Senegalese internationals have each reached the 50-goal mark in their own way. You know a little more in a few minutes. So much for the summary, the developments in a few seconds. Welcome to Football Planet. We start today with the African Club Cups, first the Champions League, and it is a 100% Maghreb affair. Ahly and Espérance, following the explosive displays at the semi-finals, we can say with confidence that the final will be an exciting one, a dream final between two teams that know each other well. Details now with Ruth Lago and Claudia Sono.
Ahly will lock horns with Espérance of Tunisia at the final of the 2018 CAF Champions League. The duo will battle to replace defending champions Raja Casablanca, eliminated at the quarter-final of the competition. The Maghreb teams crossed paths last year at the quarter-finals, which saw the Ahly Egyptians beating their Espérance de Tunis counterparts 2-0. Ahly had bowed to current champions in last year's finale. So far in the competition, Ahly has recorded 6 wins, 1 loss and 2 draws, with 16 goals scored and 7 conceded. Espérance de Tunis prides itself with 6 wins, 2 draws and no losses. Ahly seemed to be on the psychological advantage after beating their opponents once during the group stage of the competition. Winners of the 2018 CAF Champions League will qualify as the CAF representative at the 2018 FIFA Club World Cup in the United Arab Emirates.
A final that looks like a revenge mission and promises to be more than exciting. The first leg happens next Friday in Cairo and a return leg a week later in Tunis. In the CAF Cup, there's no Maghreb clash, but a display that is just as appealing as the Champions League. The final will be between Raja of Casablanca and AS Vita of Kinshasa. The Moroccans beat Enyimba of Nigeria after winning both sets of the semi-finals, 0-1 and 2-1, while the Congolese, after a first-leg draw, beat Al Masry of Egypt 4-0 on their return. The Egyptians could also be sanctioned by CAF for indiscipline, as you can see from these images. The first leg of the Cup final will take place on Raja's turf in Casablanca on 23rd November. A return leg will be in Kinshasa on the 30th. Let's now talk about the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations, of which we already know the first 4 to qualify: Egypt, Madagascar, Senegal and Tunisia, which are joining the host country Cameroon. And in a little over 2 weeks, we'll be seeing others, including Mauritania, which, if they qualify, will be making their maiden appearance. The Morabitoons hope to imitate Madagascar before the Junior Africa Cup of Nations in 2021, which they host. We are talking about this with Brahim Sow Deïna, who is the Federation's Communications Officer. Hi, Brahim. First of all, can we talk about victory after the award of the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations Under-20 to Mauritania?
Well, we welcomed it as a victory because it's the first time Mauritania has had the chance to host a CAF competition. And it was an objective of the Executive Board of the Mauritanian Football Federation for quite some time. We wanted to host a competition. Unfortunately, it was done. We're very happy about that. Today, the aim is to give a very good image of Mauritania in 2021 during the Under-20 African Cup.
What do you expect from this tournament in terms of impact on the development of local football?
The impact is quite significant. Today, we have an academy that was opened over a year ago, and normally it is these young people who should represent Mauritania in 2021 during this African Cup. In terms of infrastructure, the state must invest, and ideally, we should have a new stadium by then. So that will have a fairly significant impact.
As mentioned above, the Morabitoons are only one win away from a first Nations Cup qualification. When you saw Madagascar do it, what did you think? Can you do it too?
Well, I don't think we waited until Madagascar qualified before we had any ambition. Mauritania has been waiting for a qualification for the African Cup of Nations for a very long time. Madagascar's qualification gave us some ideas, thus Mauritania's ambition to qualify. We know it's far from being done. Today, we have an important game coming up, and we hope that it will go the way we want it to.
So how are you preparing for the encounter against Botswana, which quite puts you at the edge of history?
Very serenely. We prepare for it like all the other games. Of course, this match is different because a win guarantees us a place in the African Cup of Nations. But it will be a mistake to put unnecessary pressure on us. We know that until we win, we're not. And these kinds of games are tricky games. Botswana are now ranked last in the group, but they will not be an easy opponent. The team is very concentrated, and we are keeping our fingers crossed and hoping that it will go the way we want it to.
Thank you very much, Brahim.
Thank you very much, Mohani, and see you later.
So that was Brahim Sow Deïna, Communications Manager of the Mauritanian Football Federation. I would like to remind you that the next fixtures of the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers will be held on November 16th and 17th. Let's go to Europe now to talk about the two most prominent Africans in the last two seasons, Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah. After a shy start to the season, the Senegalese and Egyptian seem to have recovered all their sensations. In any case, they never stopped writing their own legend in bold ink. Scorers in the Champions League and the Premier League last weekend, the duo are making history. Here's Jean-David Mihamle and Ellen Wangalwa.
In the space of 1 week, two African giant players have dominated the pitch. Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah continue to astonish and make history for their club Liverpool. The Senegalese and Egyptian each have about 50 goals to their names. First, by scoring twice this weekend in the Premier League, the Senegalese is back in a select group of African strikers who have scored at least 50 goals in the English League, a ranking dominated by Ivorian Didier Drogba with 104 goals. Earlier, the Egyptian striker had reached the same level under the Reds thanks to his 2 goals in the Champions League. A hell of a performance for the African duo from Liverpool on Saturday when the Reds beat Cardiff 4-1. Mane scored a brace of goals and Salah continued his return to form as Liverpool moved to the summit of the Premier League. Liverpool, still unbeaten and winners of 8 of the 10 league matches, have 26 points.
Here's a report now on a competition like no other, a Copa America dedicated to little people. It took place in Argentina with the aim of combating discrimination. And for this edition, Morocco was the extra-continental guest. Report by Cedric Sehosolo and Ignatius Anor.
It's a world first for little people on a global football stage. Argentina played host to teams of little people across the Americas as they compete on 7 soccer matches.
Well, it's just giving everybody a chance, whether they're, little or any kind of a challenge, whether blind or deaf or, treat everybody the way you would want to be treated. And, you know, we all can shine in our own light, you know, if given the opportunity.
It gives us the chance to show the world who we are and what we're made of and what we can do. It's important to note that we represent one of the disabilities that is most discriminated against. And the main goal is to bring awareness, respect, and most of all, peace.
It's a pretty proud moment for some parents.
It's beautiful to be able to give them a different life, help them in all their dreams, help them get away from feeling ostracized, which is the only way some of them leave because they feel ashamed.
Morocco is on a special invitation joining teams from Chile, Colombia, Argentina, Brazil, Peru and Bolivia. Players are hoping the platform would help bring more awareness and respect to people of short stature. The winning team was crowned at the tournament final in Buenos Aires on Sunday.
And just to mention that Paraguay won the Cup by defeating the host country Argentina 3-0. Before we conclude, I would like to invite you to find out the result of the draw for the AFCON 2018 beach soccer held on Sunday in Cairo, Egypt. Note the clash between Senegal, the sports giants, and second-ranked Nigeria in Group B. And that's all for this week. Stay tuned to Africanews. Our site is africanews.com. For all your comments and suggestions, write to us at the addresses at the bottom of your screen. Have an excellent week. Goodbye.